Hello and welcome to round 1 of the 2014 season for F1 Live season. We are here at Albert Park, this 5.3 kilometre track for the Australian Grand Prix. The lap record for this track is a 1:24.125, set by the maestro himself in 2004. That is Michael Schumacher, and all our thoughts are still with him and his family as he recovers from a skiing incident. This track is very hard to master, and there's 16 turns, 29 laps, the race distance is 154 kilometres, and to show you how to do one amazing lap, here is Tia McMurdoch for the hot lap.
Alright, so today I'll be taking you guys on a hot lap guide of the 5.3 kilometre circuit here around Albert Park in Melbourne, home of the Australian Grand Prix. Now starting the lap, you want to get a nice smooth exit out of the final corner, use up all of your curves and open the DRS on the run up to turn 1, but unfortunately my DRS button failed there, so we'll be down on top speed, but braking just over the overhead sign there. 4th gear, clip the apex, don't extend on the exit, and then get a nice smooth exit to turn 2, open the DRS. Now we're sizing up turn 3, braking at the 100 metre board just under the shadow there. 1st gear before a quick right and then left-hander in 3rd gear. Clip the apex there as nice as you can. Watch the exit there on the curbing, can throw you out sometimes. But that is the first sector done and dusted. Now next corner is the right-hander 90-degree 3rd gear corner. Try and make sure you don't cut or extend on either of those parts of the corner. Now we're sizing up turn 9 here, braking at the 100 metre board again. Brake as late as you can, turn in very late, get a nice smooth exit, watch the exit as well, and then opening the throttle and the curves as smoothly as you can, using up about half of my curves on the run up to turns 10 and 11, the fast left right hander. 6th gear through here and then clip the apexes nicely. We're 7/10 up on our previous best, so we're looking good so far, but now we're coming up to the 3rd sector. The time can be made or lost here, so you need to make sure you hit this all fairly well. 3rd gear and then shifting up to 5th gear, hug the apex nicely through here. It feels really nice through there when you hit it right, but shifting down to 1st gear, turn in late, and then get a nice smooth exit as you set up your run through the final corner, and then using up the rest of your curves, opening the DRS on the run up to the finish line, and we set a 1:21.999, and that is a hot lap of Melbourne.
Thanks to Tiamat for showing us a masterclass around Albert Park, his home Grand Prix. Now, as we can see in the live feed, it's almost time for qualifying, but it's raining, meaning that intermediate and wet tyres are the likely choice of tyres for the drivers in this qualifying shootout. Due to the fact it's raining, being on the correct tyre at the correct time is vital and will determine whether you start in the elusive pole position or the final grid spot in today's Grand Prix, being 14th, due to the fact that Ferrari are absent. Having a wet qualifying session does make it incredibly easier for the strategists for the race, due to the fact that they have more super softs and more medium, the dry tyres for this Grand Prix, available to the drivers, making a winning strategy much more easier to determine. I will now hand you over to the qualifying feed. Today I bring you a qualifying comparison between Stark HD in the Williams on the left and Thomas 7 in the Force India on the right. We are both at the same point on the track, so this is going to be a really good qualifying comparison, and as you can see we're going down the main straight now, and already into turn 1 Cam has that slight hundredth, maybe a thousandth of a second advantage, so he has a better straight line speed in the rain. And now you come out of turn 2, try not to lose it as much, because we both run traction off, you see, so therefore it's really hard in the wet. So we now brake all the way down into turn 3, probably the hardest braking zone on the track, trying to not lose it, as like I did there, had to do a bit of cam steer, whereas Cam seems to be really silky smooth in the wet around this track. Now we sort of go up to the sector 2 line, and as you are about to see, Cam is quite a lot ahead of me now, probably more like a 10th, and really coping with the wet conditions are much better than I am, considering I do believe that I am quite good in the rain, but Cam is doing a great job here for the Williams team. So we now come through this sort of chicane section here, and if you just look, I'm a lot more shaky, whereas Cam is, like I said before, really silky smooth, doing a great job for Williams, as we now come up this sort of hill section and go left, and Cam is way ahead of me now, probably 3, maybe 4 tenths ahead. And as we now go through here, I lose a lot of time, whereas Cam is really on it and has made a lot of places as we go down into probably the 2nd biggest braking zone on the track. Cam doesn't hit the apex as well as I do, but he's already way ahead and is definitely almost likely beaten me, as we now go straight down here, trying to keep it as tight as possible, as we both take pretty much identical line, whereas Cam uses a bit more of the curve on the outside, going down the main straight, and as you are about to see, Cam does beat me. So here is a result from the first ever F1 Live season qualifying session and the grid for tomorrow's race. In pole position for the McLaren Mercedes team, we have Ewan Cunningham, who achieved a 1:25.099. He distances himself from the rest of the field by half a second to second place man Riot Box in the Williams. Then we have the Red Bull duo of What and Marco FD in third and fourth. Then the first Lotus runner, which is that Irish guy, in fifth. Then we had Riot Box's teammate in sixth, that's Starks HD. Seventh place is Chaz. Then we have ESC in 8th, then MP Racing in 9th, and Boss 1996 in 10th. Clearly the Toro Rosso and Mercedes drivers are really closely competitive in the rain, and hopefully they'll have a great battle tomorrow, and one of the constructors will come out on top. In 11th place we have the first Force India driver, and that's me, Tom F7. Then we have Just Jack in 12th, Carol 96 in 13th, or 95 even, and in 14th place we have Sam 596 for the McLaren Mercedes team. The grid looks good for tomorrow's race, and let's just hope they can use some of the soft and medium tyres, because they will be running really low on the wet tyres if there is any rain in tomorrow's race. See you for tomorrow's race day. Hello, it's race day here at Albert Park, and welcome to the first ever F1 Live Season Grand Prix. The drivers have over 150 kilometres, 29 laps ahead of them until the checkered flag, and unfortunately one of them disconnected between the qualifying and race period and therefore is unable to race. Drivers who went through a lot of their intermediate tyres may be really fearing the Grand Prix now due to the fact that there is a 37% chance of rain, which will have significant effect on their strategy if they do have to switch to any wet tyres. As you can see in the live feed, drivers are getting prepped and ready to go, and it's almost time to go racing, so let's hand over to the race coverage. Enjoy. So after 10 rounds of winter testing, it all boils down to this. The first ever F1 Live Season Grand Prix is about to begin, and we are going to be viewing the start from Riot Box's point of view. Riot Box, who drives the Williams Mercedes, is expecting his team to achieve high success in the overall season and here at Albert Park. We have 3 lights, 4 lights, 5. F1 Live Season has begun, and Riot Box has got pretty average start, Marco's got an electric start, Ewan's got an awful start. 3 abreast here. Who's going to come out on top at turn 1? It is Riot Box. He's covered them off amazingly there, and Ewan has actually lost 3 positions there and is now fighting with Starks HD, also known as Cam, who is Riot Box's teammate. Ewan goes on the outside here, but this hasn't helped him because he's now missed his braking zone yet again, and that's given Cam an easy overtake. Williams and Red Bull are now dominating the top 4 positions, and clearly they will be expecting podiums from at least one of their drivers. As we can now see here, we're going into the second sector, and Riot Box has messed it up a little bit there. Looks like Ewan's gone wide as well, and that's dominoed down to What slowed him down slightly, but Riot Box, being the clever driver he is, decides to not hold up his teammate, and hopefully if his teammate can get it past What, he's going to slow him down and eventually allow Riot Box to overtake him. So, you know, the Williams team have clear teamwork skills round 1, which are going to benefit them for the whole season. And if there's teams which haven't got these yet, then they are going to definitely be looking at how the Williams team are structured. We look at the start from Ewan, and you can see the initial issue was wheel spin. He couldn't get the traction, and then here he misses his braking zone. So I was just thinking, well, it's cold tyres, and they're also mediums, so it's a lot harder to get the traction out of the medium tyres than the soft. But then he does it again. And then I think, well, maybe it's something to do with brake bias. Maybe he's changed his brake settings, because it's very unlike Ewan to miss his turns consistently like that, because he's a very good driver and arguably the fastest in the league. We now look at the midfield pack, and this is my point of view, and a bit of wheel banging going on between me and Chaz, which is perfectly fine as long as no one loses out or is disadvantaged in any way. We move on a little bit further, and we're now looking from just Jack's point of view, actually me there, and this is always great to have a battle with just Jack, as you see we give each other just inches, and it's always fun there. We now look at Sam's point of view here, who is at the back of the pack, and he's fighting with Nick Carell, or Carroll even, and that Irish guy's internet. So Sam becomes really clever here, and decides to back out there, because in my opinion that was only going one way if Sam went full throttle through there, and that would have been a retirement from either Nick or Sam. So you know, Sam may be able to get some benefits from not doing that now, because you know, it's always not good to lose your front wing on the first lap. So now we move on to Chaz's point of view here at the end of lap 1, and he's lost a little bit there, and that has actually given ESC the advantage here as they now go down into turn 1, and they're pretty much side by side here, and you know, ESC is not giving an inch here compared to me and Jack, and looks like he's got him on the outside, which is a really good move there, and it's very hard to pull off. As you see, I'm trying to get on the inside, if you can see in the mirrors, and Chaz goes down the inside, covers it off, does really well, but ESC's not having any of that, tries to snick his beak up on the inside, doesn't seem to have paid off there. However, he is showing that he wants to get past Chaz, because it does look like Chaz has now created a little gap between him and Ewan, so clearly ESC wants to try and get past him to try and catch up Ewan, who is not having a good race today. Clearly he's in 6th place, he has lost 5 positions now within only 2 laps. I mean, we haven't even finished 2 laps, to be honest, but as we can see, Boss and Ewan has actually had a bit of an issue here, and this is the worst thing as a driver, having to actually put your foot off the throttle because you can't get past. And I do really feel bad there for Chaz, because it's the worst thing in the world, because he could have had 2 positions there if there was only space on the track, and it's now also meant that ESE can get through. However, he's missed his braking zone or something, and has now allowed 2 people to get through, including me, and therefore Chaz has now lost 2 positions there, unfortunately for him. But either way, he is a fast driver, and he should surely be able to make his way up the field and hopefully achieve well. We now look at the incident with Boss and Ewan from Ewan's point of view, and it just looks like Boss gets tapped by Ewan, so Ewan does actually decide to let him through, which is good, and I show you this because this is an example of what you should do in a race if you do cause an issue with someone else. And unfortunately it hasn't worked out well for Chaz. However, at the end of the day that's fair, because Ewan didn't actually get a penalty for that. But either way, this is a lap later, and clearly Boss is either doing fuel saving or he's just holding up Ewan, and Ewan wants to get past, and they're side by side here. But yeah, I mean, really good racing there. I mean, they really are using the width of the track, and you know, it's only bringing ESC into play here. With actually Chaz has dropped off a bit, or that might be me actually, I'm not too sure. As we now see, and Ewan does turn in there, and it's really good battle between the Toro Rossos and the McLaren. I always get confused because Ewan's using that skin, which doesn't really relate to any team to me. But either way, it's really cool skin, by the way. And as you can see, Ewan does get slightly shunted there. However, ESC gives the position back. I don't know why the game gave him a penalty for that, but either way, we will see. And it doesn't affect his results at the end of the race, because the stewards clearly do realise that that is not a penalty. But Ewan's gone wide, and there's something wrong. There's clearly something wrong, as I now get past him, and he's just not. Maybe he's just not concentrating. He's just not performing like he usually does. And now he's got the disadvantage of his front wing. And now we move on to lap 6 here, where Boss actually does have a cheeky little look at ESC here. And they're going to go down here into turn 1, and it's always good teammates having battles, and he does decide better than to try and stick his nose up the inside there. We now move on to lap 6, and this is actually me behind these 2 battling, and I decide to pit because I've had enough. And as you can see, I'm really losing traction there, and we do decide to speed it up a little bit. So yeah, I decide to put on the medium tyres because that is going to benefit me more from anything else, because there is a chance of safety car, you know, guys. Here around here there's always, I think it's like 80% chance, so hopefully we will be okay from that. But we've now cut to Ewan, who is now racing us, and we're in the pits at the moment, so we're coming out of the pits, and we've got to see whether Ewan can actually get out ahead of us or behind us, who he's now racing Chaz, and hopefully Chaz has held him up. But we can see him at the pit exit What's going to happen here? We're going to be side by side, and fortunately for me, Ewan misses his turning, or decides to just turn onto the grass so he doesn't hit me. But it's unfortunate for Ewan there, whether he missed his turning or not, but you know, he'd have had to slow down a lot anyway. But I mean, if you look at the mini-map, we're still quite compressed, considering there's been about 8 laps now. And as you can see, we are now looking from Cam's point of view, who has recently pitted. I think he pitted around lap 5, so he's going to probably come out ahead of Riotbox, but only just. But either way, you know, clearly the teamwork is working really well, because Riotbox and Cam are within the podiums, and looks like they're going to be doing really well here. We now move on to Toroses. Again, they seem to be having quite a good inter-team battle here, and as we see, yes, he actually goes really wide there, almost takes his teammate out, unfortunately. Boss has to sway there, and as we see, Ewan's got another penalty for something. Who knows this game? This game's crazy. So either way, he's now behind me, and I'm a likely target, and he's already got me here, and well done, Ewan. I do try to cover the inside, but it's pointless because he's already side by side and he's got the move done. So now it's all down to me, hopefully trying to gain on him again. And DRS is the only way for me here, because from my point of view, I didn't have a great setup, so I wasn't able to push it so well. But either way, I did the best I could. And yeah, let's stop talking about me. This is about everyone. So yeah, as we see, Ewan is actually starting to pull away from me, and we see people still in the pits, so someone's made it to lap 9 on the tyres. So quite a few strategies going out there, and that's because people are allowed to start on the tyres they want, due to the fact there was intermediate weather. But there's still a chance of intermediate weather in the race, not just qualifying as there was. But you see I go on the inside here, and a bit of incident there, so Ewan complained about that, and the stewards appealed, not appealed, they voted that it was no issue there. And we're going to look from my point of view here, because when I was racing, I didn't understand. I mean, I thought Ewan would clearly understand that this is just an overtake. As we can see, we're going to go down here in the braking zone, and I agree, it's a bit ambitious, but I was already side by side before the corner. In fact, I was ahead of him, as you can see. So I don't get that, but either way, let's not dwell on issues like that. It's just a racing incident, let's leave it at that. So either way, Ewan is just not having a good day today, is he? It's a shame for him, because I really do like and enjoy racing him, because he's, I mean, I remember there was a period between probably, you know, October and December where we really had some good battles, and haven't had that recently. But either way, we've got Just Jack here, who seems to be the man on the move at the moment, who actually does really well. He actually slows down there to then get a great exit here, and it's paid off well. And you know, I think this Grand Prix Jack made some really good overtakes. I think Jack and Boss did the best at overtaking from what footage I've seen, and I've watched a lot of it, guys. I've spent about probably 12 hours on editing this video. I probably won't be spending that much on the next one, because it's very tiring. As we now move on to lap 10. So we're a third of the way through the Grand Prix, and Cam has his teammate behind him, and again, they're being clever, and they let each other through, because at the end of the day, it's about the constructors here. We're not too worried about the drivers, and teamwork always works, because it's called teamwork. If it works, it's teamwork. I'm trying to make something up there, guys. I'm quite tired at the moment. So either way, we now have Cam, who decides to pit on lap 12, so he's made his tyres last about 7 laps, so that's not too bad. He should be okay to do another prime and a prime stint, maybe an option and a prime stint if he's willing to stretch and tyres out. But either way, let's see what he puts on. He puts some primes on, and he should be going for the strategy I think he's going for. So Williams are doing well, and unfortunately Ewan left there. Like I said, he had a bad race. So now we're looking at it from that Irish guy's point of view. So the first time I've done this, actually. And this is where he gets quite close to me. As you can see, he's very fast guy. And I just decided to pull out the way. I'm not even having this battle, because he's already got DRS on me. And like I said, my setup was quite poor for this Grand Prix, unfortunately. But he's now side by side with Marco, and it's the same issue that Ewan had with me. That pit exit isn't that good, is it, really? And I'm surprised we haven't seen issues at the Grand Prix in real life. But either way, he's side by side with Marco, but Marco isn't going to have any of this. He brakes a little bit later, does a bit of a Schumacher. And as we move on a little bit later in the lap, only about 20 seconds later, to be honest, they're still fighting, and I get a chance here at that Irish guy. Am I going to make it stick? And it looks like I'm not, actually. And like I said, my setup I just didn't seem to have the acceleration these guys had, so I was quite stuck there. But either way, looks like that Irish guy's pushed his way up there, so he's doing really well for Lotus. Like I say, Starks is in 6th, and he has pitted, and and like I said, these guys do seem to obviously be on different strategies, so therefore we can't really read it until everyone's pitted and done their final stop. And as we can see, we're here in 7th, and Just Jack has got to pass what? I think again, actually, I swear we saw this a couple of laps ago. This is lap 16, we've skipped quite a few there, guys. And it does look like it could be raining, doesn't it? As Jack, they go side by side, and he's got Chaz behind him now, so he's got to be careful he doesn't get Chazed. I guess could be a adjective, I'm guessing, or a verb. Verb. Come on, I can't even speak, guys. Sorry about this. But yeah, I would have done a better commentary, but I just want to publish this now because then people will be able to more enjoy it now. And who cares if I sound like an idiot, because apparently that's funny on YouTube, so there you go. Anyway, let's stop going off topic because this is the important thing, the racing, guys. As we see, I'm in 9th out of 11th, that kills me, however, who cares, let's just go on with the racing. As we see me and What going side by side. What is another great driver, one of the new guys of the league, or of our sort of so-called F1 community, and he's great, he is amazing. The thing with him, he's one of these drivers, I hit the cone, sort of noob mistake there. You know, he's not just fast and really good at the wheel, he's also really good behind the scenes, if you know what I mean. And that's why he's a steward. You know, he's level-headed, and that's a good thing. But as you see, we are fighting, and we actually had quite a good battle here. When I re-watched the footage, I didn't realise how much of a battle I had. I really thought after about lap 10 or so that was it for me, until it started. Like I said, maybe the weather gets a bit bad, that's all I'm going to say. Almost spoiled it there. But either way, as we can see, we're on lap 18, and Boss just taps it in there, and it's a very easy mistake. And that's it, you guys. That's how you lose a position. It's that easy. I'm almost do it there as well. So, unfortunate for him. But, like I say, when you're pushing it and you're against these sort of drivers, it's very easy to make little mistakes like that. But as you can see, it's starting to rain, but I have to pit because my tyres are dead. So I'm just stuck here, and I think I actually followed Just Jack in, he put options on, and I decided to copy him, but it was a bad mistake in the end because I could have actually gained about 30 seconds here. But either way, doesn't matter. So clearly we are now on with the Williams team, and they've got a 2nd and a 3rd place, and Marco seems to be leading, and this is what actually loses him the Grand Prix, in my opinion. He should have, I mean, I know he's losing a lot of time there, but he pits and then pits for dry tyres. I mean, literally, it's only a couple of laps away from raining, even from your point of view. As you see, Jay's tyres aren't that good either. But I guess Marco would be able to explain why he did it. I guess he was exactly in the same situation as me. But here we are, me again, having another battle. And yeah, guys, can you tell me what you think of these highlights, by the way? I don't want to go on about talking about that, but you know, I just want to see what you think. Driver interviews will be coming next week. It's just the ones I did before weren't that good. And the highlights probably won't be as long next week, and they won't take me as long to edit because I'm very tired. I've literally spent all Saturday doing this. So as you can see, me and What are going left and right, or side by side. I don't know, because I can't even speak, guys. And I hit the cone again, so I've got 2 times noob now, I guess. As we see that What is going on the outside. Let's see what happens here, as the track is a little bit greasy, and What makes an amazing move on the outside. I mean, that's good. It's always good to make a move on the outside, and he does it there. And I think that actually forces us to pit. I think. No, we don't. It's obviously a couple of laps later, I'm guessing. But either way, What's got the move done there, and he is clever. So now we go on to Sam's point of view. He's also on lap 21, and he's in the worst situation in the world because his tyres are literally dead. And it's, like I said, a couple of laps from... I mean, he's locking up, man. And it's such a shame, that, because you can't go on wets, but you cannot go on dries, because it's such an awful position to be in, and it's quite bad. But either way, let's see what happens as he does go into bits. And he actually puts wets on. So he puts the intermediate tyres. Who knows, it could pay off. But in my opinion, they're going to start overheating. And I would say, for this race, I would have said about at least another 2 laps before you pit. It doesn't look that bad yet, but you never know with this weather system. Sometimes it can chuck it down and you need to pit within that lap. So we'll have to keep an eye on what happens to him, as we are going to actually look in a couple of seconds. Can't actually see the timeline, guys, so I don't know how long we're going to be looking at this screen for. But we're going to see how his tyres are, and they're already lighting up, so I think it's wrong. Yeah, it's wrong. So unfortunately for him, it's not paid off too well. I mean, he's obviously coped with it, but and it's pointless now pitting on dry tyres or pitting again, but he was in such a tricky situation. No wonder why he had such he had to just go for the inters, didn't he, at the end of the day. So yeah, he is obviously struggling, and it doesn't help that the weather changes. Like I said, it's always a hard decision to make, but either way, we now move on to the Williams team. We are here with Starks again, and I think Starks probably made the right decision. Lap 24 seemed to be a good time to pit, and as you see, he's got Marco behind him, who actually goes on the inside there, and looks like Marco's able to cope with these wet tyres a lot, or dry tyres in the wet, is what I need to say, a lot better than obviously Cam. But Cam has decided to pit. He has had enough, and with this game, like a lot of people do say, if you listen or talk to anyone within the community, pit when your tyres are crap or dead. Don't keep trying to make them last, because you'll just lose too much time. And Cam is got that motivation or motto around him, or mojo, whatever we want to say there. And yeah, he's come out in 4th, and he's got a good chance now of trying to get 2nd place. I mean, I think the podium's pretty much confirmed. It's just whether 2nd place. I mean, what had obviously 4th place or 3rd place at the beginning of the Grand Prix, but he's just lost a little bit out. And you know, he's fighting with me. I'm doing pretty well, bad. So unfortunately for him, he's not being able to do well with the Red Bulls. But as you can see, even the leader is locking up and losing time, and has allowed Nick to unlap himself. So yeah, obviously this is a very hard decision. As you can see, Boss decides to pit, as well as someone ahead of him. I believe that's just Jack. 25, lap 25 seems a bit late, but either way, it's all up to people. And Boss is one of these drivers who seems to be able to keep his tyres a little bit extra than anyone else. You know, unfortunately for him, he gets held up incredibly by his pit lane mechanics. Hope they fix that in the new game. And as you can see, I'm here on lap 25, and I obviously either pitted the lap before, or the lap before that, or the lap before that, whatever. And I'm doing alright. I'm just in my typical fuel saving mode. And if you didn't know, guys, I usually get about -3 or 4 laps of fuel, and then save them at the last couple of laps of the race. But either way, we get past Chaz here, so we're in 6th place. So 6th place, that's quite good actually. I'll take 6th place if we can finish there. And we're having another little bit of a battle there, and yeah, it's going alright, not too bad. But yeah, guys, tell me, like I said, about these highlights. What do you think? If they're good, if they're bad, how long would you like them to be? And I'm not talking about anything else there, guys. Alright, but yeah, how long, you know, this is about 30 odd minutes, this one, so it's probably killing you guys. But either way, this must have been killing Starks, because he must have been the most nervous and anxious person in the world here, because he's got Marco FD behind him. He wants to get a 1-2 for his team, and he's literally having to battle with him there, and it's really close. And I mean, I've been in situations like that before. It's really bad, and although it's a game, it does feel really bad. I'm sorry, guys, if I'm not speaking properly, but like I said, I'm a bit tired, and I want to get this video up because I know people have been waiting for it. So as we see, Boss has gone around Chaz here, and Chaz does squeeze in there, in my opinion. And apparently Boss did something wrong there. I don't agree with that, but either way, no action has been taken by the stewards on that situation, so that's alright. So we're a lap here, lap 29, and we haven't seen him, and this is what usually happens with the winners or dominant people. You never see them because they're just winning, they're on their own, it's boring to watch, and that's how Jay likes it. It's best to be boring in F1 because that means you're winning. So here you go. Well done, Jay, for winning the first F1 Live Season Grand Prix. Can his teammate finish in second place? Can they get a 1-2, a brawn sort of style? And we will see as we go down here into the final sector-ish. Well, I mean, we're already in the final sector, but Marco's side by side here. How's he going to do it? He's covered him off. But I mean, look at the rain. It's way worse than it was a couple of laps ago. So it's all about trying to get the braking zone there. It does go slightly loose, is it? But Marco has left the track. And now he's just got to try and keep it around this turn without... Oh, I mean, look at that. I mean, that is a way to end it. And well done, Cam and Rightbox, for achieving a 1-2. And that's what teamwork's about, and that's why he's excited there. And now we're just going to show you this incident here. As you can see, Jack is going around, and Rightbox has, or ESC has actually messed it up there. And that's caused Jack to get ahead of him. I can't even speak now, guys. Yeah, it's caused Jack to get ahead of him now. And ESC's not going to be happy with that. With 1 lap to go, and he's lost a position. I mean, 4th place is quite a good position to be in for the first round. And let's see what he can do about it, as Jack's probably amazingly impressed for himself. That's where his football team, he hopes, will at least finish, so they can get into the Champions League. So do I, because then that means United won't get in. Anyway, that's a bit off topic. Let's see what happens here as he brakes, and turns out that actually ESC hits him a bit there, and unfortunately Jack does get a bit annoyed there. But either way, ESC does decide to let him through, or not let him through. He actually gives him the position back at the end of the Grand Prix via, advisement from the stewards. He advises the stewards that they should swap the positions. But this is the best overtake of the race for me. Clever. He knows I'm going to go out wide. He tucks in the inside. I mean, that's something which I'd be impressed if I did, because that's such a good move. So that was my move of the Grand Prix, probably because I was experiencing it live. And like I said, we got to saw this, me and Ben, which is quite interesting. I mean, I thought I had 4th place in the bag when I saw that. I was like, yes, at least 4th or 5th. But turns out, like I said, it was a good battle there, and the Red Bull, or Toro Rossos, went across the line pretty much together, just like they spent most of the race together. So they've got a really good team there. And as you can see, here's all the drivers ending their Grand Prix. Nice way to finish off the race, just to say thank you to everyone. And so yeah, guys, this has been coverage from the race. I shall now go over the results of the Grand Prix and the standings. So there you have it, guys. The first F1 Live season Grand Prix is over, and here's the race classification after 29 laps. We have Rightbox in first and Stark HD in second, achieving a 1-2 for William Mercedes, showing that teamwork does work. In third place, we have Marco FD, who rounds out the podium in the Red Bull. We then have the Toro Rosso of ESC, then the Lotus of Just Jack, and then the Toro Rosso of Boss 1996. Then in 7th place we have, ironically, Tom S7 in the Force India. Chaz Mur is in the Mercedes and finished 8th. What finished 9th in the Red Bull. Nicholas Carroll, or Nicholas Carroll even, is the first reserve driver to finish, and finished in 10th place, achieving 1 point for the Force India team. In 11th place we have Sam596, who achieved 11th place for McLaren Mercedes. In 12th place we have That Irish Guy, and then in 13th place, and then in 14th place we have Ewan and MP Racing. Unfortunately, the bottom 3 did not finish the race due to disconnections. The fastest lap was achieved by Just Jack, who set a 1:23.951. After one round in the F1 2014 live season, the Drivers' Championship mirrors the race results, except in one situation, where ESC requested Just Jack to finish ahead of him in the race results. Here is the Constructors' Championship table in the F1 2014 live season after one round. Williams Mercedes achieved maximum points here and have achieved 43 points and are in first in the Constructors' table. Second place in the championship is Toro Rosso with 18 points. Third place is Red Bull with 17. Lotus Renault with 12 points in fourth. Force India achieved 7 points and are in fifth. Mercedes achieved 4 points and are in sixth. McLaren, Mercedes and Ferrari didn't achieve any points and therefore have 0 points after round 1. So there you have it, guys. I hope you all enjoyed that video, and now I'm just going to spend a little bit of time reflecting it and thanking a few people. Now this is probably the bit where everyone turns off, but either way I still want to do it anyway. So basically, first of all, I'm going to thank a few people specifically, and then generalise some other people. So first of all, I'd like to thank Tom97HD for sending me the graphics so that my videos look as realistic as they would in real life with all the fancy F1 graphics. So thank you very much for that, and it's saved a lot of work for me trying to find my own way of doing it. I'd also like to thank Tiamat Marduk for first of all being in the league, and second of all for creating the hot lap video which he specifically made for the league. So I really like to thank him for that, because I know he's a very busy guy who has a lot more important things to be doing than, I guess, creating a video for a league. So yeah, thank you for that. I'd also then like to thank everyone who's ever supported my channel or podcast or whatever else I do. There's loads of things I guess I do. It means a lot that you support the F1 live season thing. And if it wasn't for any of you guys, so even if you're someone who's once sent me a tweet or saying oh, I like the idea, that helps, guys. And if it wasn't for you guys out there, as well as the people involved, then this video wouldn't have existed, would it? Because there would have not been a round one. So I thank everyone for that, and I really mean it, because like I said, it went really well first round. I know, okay, maybe the racing wasn't so great, and there's a few things which need to be sorted out. However, overall it was a success, and it's quite a big thing to start a league like this. And I know I'm probably taking it a bit too seriously. This is it does sound like a first world issue starting to appear that I'm trying to make out here. Yeah, you know what I mean. It's very good that it's gone well, and that we're all seem to have a very good positive response from it in both the Xbox and the PC. I'd also then like to thank, obviously, IHEs, also Insignia and Josh for running the league whenever they run it. So obviously IHE's used to run it, but he's not anymore. And if it wasn't for him, the league wouldn't exist on the Xbox. He was the guy who came up to me and said, I want this on the Xbox, and he did. And then Josh and Insignia have taken it in the direction I'd rather prefer, but IHEs is still involved, which is good, because he knows most of the people in the league, and he pretty much chose at least 50% of the grid, more than that probably. So I'm happy with that. Now, just this one last thing I'm going to say is probably that I think I've said this many times. YouTube isn't the most important thing to me at all, and it shouldn't be to anyone in the world. What I'm trying to say is, if I don't release a video, so let's say if we have the Malaysia video, say if I don't release it before the next Grand Prix, which I think would be China, then don't get on my case, okay guys, because I'm telling you that the amount of time I've spent on this video, I literally spent all of Saturday. I'm not even lying. And it's very draining, and it's very, very boring, and I will not be spending this amount of time on a video again. So although it's not perfect, and I know the commentary isn't great, and there is no driver interviews, that will be coming. It's just I will be cutting a few things down, so I may only have, like, say 5 or 4 or 3 drivers' points of view during a race or something like that, just to make it a bit easier for me, because like I said, there's a lot more important things in my life, and if I don't release the videos, I don't, but I do plan to, guys, okay, and I'm going to do the best that I can, and that's all I can do, I guess. And also, it's just that it does get very draining being on YouTube, because of the fact that you get constant messages from people, and it's just a very, very thing where you're constantly being asked about things, and you can't sort of put it down because of the way the world is right now. Everything's connected. But either way, I'm starting to ravel on. Okay, so let's just say, if I don't release a video when I said I was going to release it, don't worry, it will eventually be up, or it might not be, and that's just how it is, guys. But I literally spent a lot of time on this video, and it is very killing me, as you can probably hear in my voice. Anyway, guys, I really thank you all for watching this, and I mean, it's been a great success, and I cannot wait for round 2. Also, check out the website for other great leagues if you can't, for some reason, get a race seat, obviously, because F1 Live Season now has no race seats left for the foreseeable future, as far as I'm aware. And there's other great leagues out there. There's CRL, there's Formula Riot, and there'll be other ones on there as well. So I'd like to thank everyone for that, and like I said, I'd like to thank everyone involved in the league and anyone before. I'm starting to ravel on about stuff now which people are probably getting bored, so I'm going to end this short and sweetly now. So thank you for watching. This has been Thomas7, Mr. Techno Tom, and I'll see you guys next time. You'll get that one, by the way. I was asked to do that, by the way. Anyway, yeah, see you guys next time.